Good evening, guys. Happy Sunday to all of your sunshiny faces. I'm back in this room because we finished painting in here. I think this room is completely done. We're completely done with this room. We didn't completely finish my room because we had to do more of the primer because they did some of the ceiling stuff that they fixed also came down into the actual wall, and I kind of noticed that when we were painting. I was like, I wonder if they're gonna have to fix this, and they did. So they did patch it and everything, but I need to put primer over it again and repaint that part. So everything in here is done, which is nice. And I would show you guys the other side of the room. However, all my stuff is in here because we moved out of the living room, so it's at least not in the living room because we can use this as a spare bedroom. And I will probably be sleeping back in here for a few nights. I swear, guys, I don't know where I belong anymore. Like, I slept one night in my new room, and then I'll have to be back in here for probably another night or two because we still have some of the painting stuff we have to finish. Plus tomorrow my furniture is coming, so they're delivering that, and all of it's going to be in that room. Like, we're having it delivered into that room, so we don't have to have them deliver it and then move it again. So, oh my goodness, guys, it is, like I said, this is a huge headache. It is a huge process. I am, like I said, totally kind of stressed-ish out over the whole thing, but at this point I'm like, I kind of don't care. Like, I just tell me where to sleep at night, and as long as I have somewhere to lay my head, I don't care. But it's like yesterday I was like, okay, well, I'll sleep in that room, and I was like, I don't have a charger to charge my phone, and I always charge my phone at night, and so I had one that's in the living room, but I normally have my phone with me, near me at least at night. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I could charge it in there, but I don't know, I just wanted it with me. So I was like, Jack, do you have a charger that I can use in there? Because I don't have the plug for it either, the plug's in the wall. And so I was like, can I have do you have one? Because I can't find anything in my stuff. I don't even know if I actually have one down here, because I think all the extra electronic stuff I packed away, and it's all up in the attic. So I was like, I don't even think I have any of that down here. I was like, and I don't know where to find it in the attic, and it was late last night, and I was just like, I just want to go to sleep. So anyways, yeah, we got that stuff. Like I said, painting got done today. My dad finished all of the trim stuff and everything. And then we moved all of the stuff back in here today. But we also went to go and see Wicked for my birthday, which my birthday was 2 weeks ago, I think, or something like that. 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe. But it was my birthday was the opening weekend, I think. It came out. And then the following week was Thanksgiving. So then we were going to go the week after that, which was this weekend. So yeah, we ended up going today. So it was so good, guys. Honestly, I am so happy that they made it into a movie. I was not super scared, but I was a little bit frightened, I guess, kind of. Obviously, the musical numbers are not the exact same, and I sang along to those. That was exclusively the CD that I listened to in 6th grade. Was just Wicked. It was the only thing that I listened to. I went to go and see it in 6th grade, and I actually think that I had the CD before I ever saw the play. I think, because my teacher, I think I've mentioned this to you guys before, but my 6th grade teacher, she was huge into theater and stuff like that. And she was it's so weird. I was thinking about this today. I was like, she was my 6th grade teacher, full-time teacher, full class day. Then she also worked at Applebee's, and she also did theater herself. She was in Rent when I remember she was in a production of Rent. I'm assuming it wasn't some huge production, but it was I think still somewhat bigger, and so she did a lot of theater stuff as well. So we actually put on a 6th grade production, which normally they didn't, and I don't think they really did it since, because when Jack was in school they didn't do any plays, and when Matthew was in school they also didn't do any plays. But when I was in 6th grade, they ended up doing Wizard of Oz. So, and then I think they did it the year prior, and then I think it wasn't until she came to the school that they started doing it, because her first year was the year before, I would have been in 5th grade. So she started I think brought that, we're gonna do a 6th grade production of a play or whatever, a musical, and they ended up doing Wizard of Oz. And so in 6th grade, which like I said was the 2nd year that she was there, we did it. And then I think 2 years later when Matthew was in 4th grade, they ended up doing it again, and he was a munchkin. But they didn't, like, I don't think they did it when he was then in 6th grade again. Like, they stopped doing it at that point. But, and also too, 6th grade though, for me and Matthew, was still in elementary school. And then 7th grade and 8th grade was like middle school. But when Jack went to school, Matthew was actually the last 6th grade class before they combined 6th, 7th, and 8th, which is I guess what most middle schools are, but ours wasn't. So it wasn't until they added like a new like wing to the school and everything like that that they finally had 6th graders again, or you know, for the, like the first time, I guess. So then when Jack went to school though, a few years after Matthew, was when they had, you know, like he was also 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. But Matthew was the first, so like his 7th grade, when he was like an incoming 7th grader in the middle school, they also had incoming 6th graders. But when he was in 4th grade, they had they also did it, I know, because he was like one of the munchkins. Like, they gave the main roles to like all the 6th graders, but he got to be a munchkin. I was also a munchkin, so there was 2 production days. I think there was a Friday night and a Saturday, and I was Saturday night. But the Friday night one, like, normally you would switch off, so like also to like whoever was like Dorothy the one night was like somebody else like the other night, like I think Auntie M or something like that maybe, or whatever. But like you like switched off, so I don't think that you were like the same character like that night and the other night or whatever. But my production night was on Saturday, so when on Friday night I was like, I think a part of like the Lullaby League, or you know, like the Munchkins. So and I think maybe I was also a Poppy as well, like during the Poppy scene. Something like that, I think. But when I was in school, I got to be Glinda. So I guess that's a little, it's extra special for me because like we were, you know, like we did the play and everything like that, but we ended up, our production, like the play was like much later, like late into the spring probably. I think we went to go and see Wicked in like, my dad was saying probably like January or February, because it was after, I remember it being cold, but I don't remember it being Christmas time. Like, so I don't remember it being beforehand. But then I remember we did see it before we did our play. And like I said, I think that was what it was. But yeah, so my dad and me went to go and see the Chicago production. I'm almost positive it wasn't like the traveling, like, because they had like a, you know, like a touring, you know, like after they had like the Broadway cast, they then had like a tour, and we didn't see that. We saw the actual Chicago production. It was like a standstill production or whatever. Like it wasn't like part of the tour. It was just like they had it for like a few years then in Chicago after the Broadway production, or like maybe during the Broadway production as well, but then they had it in Chicago, and so we saw it that year. I think that was in 2008, maybe 2007 if it was like that year, because it would have been 2007, 2008 that I was in 6th grade. So it was somewhere in between there, either like the winter, it was winter of like 2007, 2008, whenever we ended up going to see it. But I think I still have my playbill, which I think is in my hope chest in the living room. And I also have two, I don't know if you guys can tell, but underneath here, so Matthew and his girlfriend actually got me the sweatshirt for my birthday that they gave it to me last week. So I was like, I'll wear this. But the green shirt that I have on actually underneath this is the one that my dad got for me when we went to go and see the play in the city. And I think intermission, he ended up getting it. He was like, do you want a shirt? And I was like, sure, why not? And then I've had it ever since. So I was like, I have to wear it. I have to wear it to the movie today. But yeah, not because I don't want to, like, again, give too much information or anything like that, but it was done really well. I was a little bit like, I don't know what to expect, because it's like a musical is being turned into a you know, a movie, but it was really good. And I think that it was there was a lot of attention to detail and like that kind of stuff as well. I thought it was gonna not be as close to source material, but it really was. And so like the details were all there. It wasn't like it was just, you know, like kind of just, oh, we'll loosely base it off of this or whatever. It was very closely, like, if you're a fan of Wicked, you're definitely gonna like it. And Jack, who'd never seen it, because he was like 2 or 3 at the time when we went to go and see it, also thought it was really good. We wanted to go and see it, I think recently, like within the last few years, but like I think this is maybe like 2017 or 18 or something like that, but we didn't end up going to see it. So anyways, though, like I said, it was really good. I really liked going and seeing it, but like I said, I don't want to spoil too much or like say too much or anything like that, but as a fan of Wicked, I liked it a lot. And again too, fans of not having watched Wicked also really liked it, I guess. But it holds a special place in my heart because like 6th grade was like a really weird kind of year for me. Like I had just gone back to school after being homeschooled as well. And so like, I don't know, like fitting in, because we would all like listen to the Wicked soundtrack like while we were working and stuff like that a lot of times. And so like I remember listening to it sometimes in 6th grade, like when we'd be working on stuff, because my teacher was such a huge fan. And like, you know, just like that kind of stuff, like it just brought back so many memories, and like I've always loved it so much. But it was like something that like the whole class like we all fit in, like, you know, like being a fan of it kind of, or like listening to it and like, you know, talking about it. My teacher used to do like whole unit study stuff like on Wicked. But like I said, it was really awesome to get to go and see that today. But anyways, I will see you guys in tomorrow's vlog.